It's Matt Groves. I'm here for another live coding episode. It is the Tuesday after a long weekend, and not only a long weekend, but a long week of conference travel in Los Angeles. So I'm feeling a little, I don't know, I'm not feeling 100%, let's say. So bear with me, because work must go on. I gotta get some stuff done today. I am not muted, so if you're tuning in now, you can hear me, so that's always good. Today is episode 28, and going to pick up where I left off, kinda. The last episode was, over a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. It's been a while, because I've been traveling at conferences. I've been at Codepalooza, been at VLDB, very large database conference, and so I haven't been able to do any streaming at those conferences. But we're going to continue to try to update Scavenger Hunt with OAuth. My goal is to get LinkedIn and then GitHub and maybe some more, but those are the two main ones. So hopefully we'll be getting that done today. I'm going to probably omit Okta from the project now. What I learned the last time was that the free version of Okta doesn't really support what I'm trying to do, which is kind of a bummer, but we can work around that. What I don't want to do is I don't want to store my own credentials, and that's why I was trying to lean on Okta for that. And I think I'm going to proceed still not storing credentials, which means that you have to have OAuth or you have to have LinkedIn or have to have GitHub to use Scavenger Hunt, which is probably fine. I think most people have either one or the other, and we can add other providers in the future. And if people don't want to, if people really want to create their own account, well, I mean, GitHub accounts are free, so go sign up there. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. Let's get on with it. The motto for this channel: the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. And I'm serious about this. If you have a question, don't think it's stupid, no matter how simple you think it is. No matter how off-topic you think it is, if you feel like you could get some valid input from asking the question here, do it. If it's development related, if it's related to what you're seeing on the screen, if it's database related, back-end related, I can definitely help with that. If it's front-end related, we can work through it. If it's not even tech related, we can figure something out. So don't be afraid. Drop that question right in the chat channel there and ask away. This is a friendly channel. If it's not friendly, we can deal with the person who's not being friendly. That's just against the rules. So. All right, what else? Team Live Coders, yes. Quick plug for my live coding team here on Twitch. Twitch.com/team/live coders. This is a team of 77 now members of this team who are all live coding on Twitch, all kinds of different things. Not just coding necessarily, but building cool stuff with tech. You name it, they're doing it. Lots of great people in this team. So right now it's Stuik Gaming, who looks like they may have just ended, and then Graham Weldon, who looks like probably in a very different time zone than me. He's doing some just plain old gaming, which is cool. I do some gaming sometimes. Last night I did a game stream on a classic, well, I don't know about classic, but retro Sierra adventure game. I do that from time to time in this channel, and I do some other stuff sometimes with my kids and things like that. But yeah, it looks like just doing some gaming with Celeste, which I've heard is great. I haven't got a chance to play it yet, so it might be cool to check that out. So right now I don't think we'll raid either of these, because it looks like Stuck is offline and Graham's just doing some plain gaming, so we might look for someone else when the stream is over to come in here and raid. Okay, what else we got? Awesome developer streaming list. So this is a text file basically of a bunch of streamers, and it looks like it's been updated recently, so we're going to have to do a quick search. But if you go to github/bnb/awesome developer streams, this is a catalog of all kinds of people who are doing live coding, streaming. It doesn't necessarily have to be Twitch. It could be YouTube or Periscope or Mixer or Facebook or whatever else people are using out there. They're just doing some sort of live coding, and this attempts to tag people in the kind of topics they typically cover. So what I like to do when this list is updated, which it was 6 hours ago, I like to do a search for data to see who else is doing stuff with data out there. So here's a new one. This is Liz Phillips. It's data structures, so that could be interesting. Could be what I'm kind of stuff I'm interested in. I'll have to check out Liz Phillips at some point. There's myself, Matt Groves. I do a lot of databases, Couchbase, SQL, NoSQL, .NET, backend stuff, C#, and then other stuff I already mentioned. Rachel Tatman, yep, data science. Shirley Wu, data visualization. Ted Young, Spring Data. And Go Maestro Go, database design. And Jack Mott, I think we already looked at him too. Data structures, yep. Okay, so yeah, we got a new one there, doing some stuff with data structures. So we'll have to check that out, see what that's like. But if you're looking for other topics, go to github/bnb/awesome developer streams and find a topic. Just do a Control F and type in a keyword that you like. I don't know, Python, for instance. And you'll see the people pop up on the list who are streaming about Python from time to time. Okay, what's next? bit.ly/growstube. So if you want to watch videos of previous live coding sessions, go to bit.ly/growstube. That's just my YouTube channel. Everything that I do, saves to Twitch, of course, but after a certain period of time, Twitch will dispose of that. So I also try to archive all the videos that I do on YouTube, so you can go watch the old clips of that. Whenever I do a highlight clip as well, a short clip of a stream just to highlight some specific thing that we just did, I will put that onto YouTube as well as Twitch. So great place to go. Go over there, hit subscribe, hit a like button, all that. Smash that like button, as the kids say. All right, Twitch bot is on. So I have, as always, a Twitch bot running, which is all it's doing right now is basically collecting your messages. And I've also implemented a couple commands for showing the current project and to change the current project. One change I made to this actually over the weekend. I just had some time yesterday evening, and I thought I would try to get it to a place where I might want to do some fun stuff in the future with SignalR. Some of the cool stuff that like Michael Jolly's doing, that makes it a little more interactive, a little more visual on the screen here. Probably need to use ASP.NET to do that, because I can just throw a web page that just sits right on top of this, and I can put graphical elements, text elements on that. And one way to do that is SignalR. When the stuff changes in the back end, we'll push that through WebSockets or whatever protocol SignalR is using to the web page. So nothing like that yet, but we have that for the future. Hey, it's Michael Jolly. Speak of the devil, interaction is overrated. I disagree, sir. I think that's one of the best things about Twitch. And I know, of course, you're being sarcastic because your channel is highly interactive. All right, so add commands. So you've got the bang help, bang current project, and bang set current project. I actually need to set current project to something different before we go on. So I'm going to set this to this page right here, which is the OAuth provider library we'll probably be working with today. So if when people come into this room, they'll see a little message that basically says this: type bang help to get help. And it will give you a list of commands. And current project will do what Calvin just did there. Hey, Calvin, thanks for stopping in. It will show you a URL for the current thing I'm working on. So people can come in, say, what's the current project, and at least get a link. That's all we've gotten to so far. We might want to add some more information to it later. I don't know. We'll see. Not a big deal. Set current project only works for yours truly. So no one else can set current project. All right, what else? All right, Scavenger Hunt. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with the actual meat of today. So let's just minimize this here. I've got Scavenger Hunt project, and if you've not heard this, talk about this in the past before, this is basically an application that I wrote that I intend to use for different events that my employer sponsors, Couchbase. And the idea with this is that people will come to the booth, they will enter a URL, and then they will go to a website that takes them through a series of, I used to call this Scavenger Hunt, SQL Scavenger Hunt, because the idea was they'd be entering SQL queries to find different pieces of information. But we expanded it to be a little bit more of, less SQL oriented. There's still SQL in there, but they can answer questions, and it's all digital Scavenger Hunt, I guess. But I'm thinking of changing the name to Developer Challenge, which I think is what Okta actually called theirs at KCDC. They did something very similar. This is not uncommon. This is something that sponsors do at a lot of different events. They'll have a little website of varying complexity. Twilio famously, they really excel at that with Twilio Quest. Okta Developer Challenge, I think Xamarin has done this kind of stuff in the past. just a ways to get people to interact with your product and learn more about what you're sponsoring for. And beyond just, hey, come to our booth, I'll scan your badge and you get a t-shirt. Right? Get people that want to go above and beyond and learn more about the product or the tool or whatever that we're there representing. So that's what the point of Scavenger Hunt is. Now, one thing at KCDC, this is the first event we really tried it at, the first very large event we tried it at. One thing we learned is that people didn't really like to sign up for a brand new account to use the Scavenger Hunt, which is, in retrospect, totally reasonable. They'd much rather click on a login with GitHub or login with LinkedIn button and just use their existing account. So the last stream, we tried to do this with Okta, and we kind of learned, and I still could be wrong about this, but it seemed like, from what I've heard from support and from documentation, that you really need to have, not necessarily a paid account, but you have to have access to a domain registrar, which I don't have that, and that would be a whole thing to get that to happen with Couchbase. So, I mean, we still might come back to Okta in the future because I know Couchbase is an Okta customer, so we have an Okta account, and if we could somehow tie this Scavenger Hunt app to that, but this is really more of a kind of a skunkworks project, kind of a independent project being run at Couchbase, just pretty much by me. And so we're not going to do that. So what I thought I would do instead is we're going to explore just adding an OAuth provider directly to ASP.NET. And I found a library for this that includes GitHub and LinkedIn because I think ASP.NET has built-in, I don't know about built-in, but the official one has Twitter and Facebook, but it doesn't have GitHub and LinkedIn. So this provider here actually supports a lot of different organizations. So you can see here everything from Amazon to Discord to Dropbox to GitHub, which is what we're hopefully going to look at today, Instagram, MailChimp, etc., and LinkedIn. So we're going to try to get those two, PayPal in here. I mean, at some point it's diminishing returns, right? Who doesn't have a GitHub and LinkedIn account? Maybe we'll add a third one for, I don't know, Twitch might be a good one, for instance. Or Reddit. Chances are someone coming to our booth has one of these accounts, right? And if they don't have an account, then, they're either not a developer or, well, that's unfair to say, right? Just because you don't have a GitHub account doesn't mean you're not a developer. But chances are, if you're a developer, you at least have a GitHub account. Even if you have no activity on there, you have a GitHub account. And if you're not a developer, if you're more in the business side of things, then you probably have a LinkedIn account. Again, not always, but most of the time, I think we're gonna definitely get the 80-20 rule, probably more like 95-5 rule or 99-1 rule here. So let's get on with it. So this is, based on this snippet up here, pretty darn simple, and they've actually got a sample directory as well for the other stuff that's not included. But we're going to go ahead and just add this to the project. And so actually, let's first start by taking out this Okta stuff. So just comment that out for now. I'll eventually get rid of it. And the other thing that uses Okta is, what is that? I believe it uses the,
Bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, Airtar, thank you for the follow. Thanks for checking it out. Just a fair warning to those still watching. I am running on kind of, I don't know, about half speed because of the long weekend and the long travel week. So I've got extra strong coffee to try to get me through. But if I, sort of start slurring my words or start to drool and lean to the side, that's what's going on. So I apologize for that. Anyway, what was I looking for? It was a service, I believe, that... So it's not coffee. You found out my secret, Calvin. It's not coffee. It's actually a, 2 or 3 bottles of whatever I could find, all mixed in together. Some fortified wine, some Mad Dog, some gin. All right, so this is the get user from Okta thing, where I actually pull details from the Okta service. This is being used where? This is being used by the ensure user is created. So that is, I can't really use that anymore. And I've got this octave user class. So yeah, and all this octa stuff. So really, this is probably going to just break. That's all there is to it. Excuse me, until I figure out how to get the similar information. Calvin, so generous, gifting a sub to Michael Jolly. Thank you for that. Calvin is the man. If you're new around here, Calvin is the man. He really is the man. He's my partner in crime. Although I say partner, he does all the work, really, with the .NET Bytes podcast. If you go to .NETBytes.fm, let's give him a plug. Why not? I think for a sub, he deserves at least a plug. A little sub plug. .NETBytes.fm. And yes, so notice I just get a little fire icon for my head because he does all the work, so he should get all the credit. But S.O. Calvin Allen. Oh, shout out. Is that a command we should add, Michael Jolly? The shout out command to shout out Calvin's Twitch channel. And you recently reached affiliate? Oh, congratulations, Calvin. Good job in reaching affiliate. I remember that getting affiliate status was a little bit of an uphill struggle, but not too bad. We got a great community here with the Live Coders team, so it wasn't too bad. But congratulations on that. Anyway, Team Live. Oh, so you submitted to the Team Live Coder approval. Awesome, terrific. So talking about .NET Bytes, did you get the latest episode published, Calvin? September 2nd. That was yesterday. So this is the latest episode, episode 6 of the .NET Bytes podcast, which my sound quality is going to be awful because I was recording this one in Los Angeles in a lobby/hallway of a hotel. Yes. But yeah, another episode of that. Some good stuff in that one, so definitely check it out. Let's see. Not to mention the amazing beard and head on Calvin Allen. So what is this, like team bald beard? Team, I don't know. I can't do the beard, and I'm not going to do the bald until I have to. Brothers in the scalp. Okay. Spend 4 to 5 hours on a Sunday. Man, Calvin, you really just pour yourself into the editing. So, yeah, if nothing else, listen to this episode because Calvin does some incredible editing work. Definitely check it out. Yes, Brothers in the Scalp. He didn't stream. Sometimes he still live stream the podcast editing, which is I've done in the past, and it can be interesting. Just kind of see how the sausage is made. Okay, so yes, definitely check out .NETBytes.fm. That stream recording the episode was great. It looked like Matthew D. Groves had been locked in the venue overnight. Oh, that's right. You were there for the live stream of the actual recording. I've been locked in the venue overnight. So, it was 3 hours earlier in California there, so it wasn't very late. I was definitely not locked in the venue. This is a huge hotel that's in downtown Los Angeles. It's relatively famous. It's the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. And the first 4 or 5 floors, it's like a giant conference center / shopping mall courtyard thing. So I don't know if it ever really closes. But anyway, yeah, that was it just looked dark and you couldn't see hear anyone else. Yeah, well, yeah, I was back up against the wall. The lighting wasn't great. Yeah, but there were people walking by. They were giving me weird looks, like, "What's this guy doing?" But, yeah, I tried to find as quiet a corner as I could in the area. I didn't really have time to get back to my hotel to record, so I just found a little quiet spot as I could. Such is the life of being on the road. But kudos to Calvin again for accommodating me there because I was on a different time zone. He had to stay up a lot later than normal to record that. So when I'm telling you Calvin's doing most of the work, I'm not just saying that. He really is the heart and soul of that podcast. And I'm glad that we are keeping it going. All right. So this is a sample project here. This has been updated relatively recently, so that's good. And we'll look at the startup here. And you can kind of see what they're going for here. Okay, so we're just got to get CCC back into action. Yeah, I know, Calvin. I really need to do that. It's just, oh, man. I don't know. It's something going on. After that cruise, I just sort of sapped my will to record more podcast episodes. Some good stuff in that one, but you said you were in a surly dev. Thanks for dropping in and being surly again. I'm telling you, there was some good stuff in that one because it's at least 50% Calvin. So you only have to endure me about half the time. Calvin with the generous gift to surly dev. Thank you, sir. Much obliged. All right, so I'm going to just copy parts of this. So yeah, I still got to deal with this. This is going to break, right? I'm just going to have this throw new not implemented exception. Because I don't really want to store something. That doesn't really matter, but I don't really want to store something that's incorrect. So I'm just going to have it bomb out here. I don't really need, and all this is doing is using HTTP client. So the only library that I have in here for Okta is in the UI. Way to troll Matthew Groves and encourage me to come back more often. Surly Dev, hey, I did another adventure game stream last night, and it was not as bad as the Wizard and Princess, but it was still a bit of a mess. If you want to watch the replay of that, it's actually only an hour. Didn't actually finish the game. Probably revisit it again in that series if we get to it. So yeah, Okta comes out of here, and everything else. I was at one point using an Okta, another Okta library to get details about the user, but thank God my girlfriend went to the airport at 4 a.m. the night before. Well, the next game in the series is a little salty. It's they sold it as an adults-only game. Let's just say that. So I'm kind of debating, like, should I do this on the stream or not? It's not terribly family-friendly, but it's also not, like, super obscene either. It's like a, I don't know, PG-13-ish type of game, and there's no graphics, so we'll see. It's like a prequel to Leisure Suit Larry. That's the next one in the sequence, so we'll see how that goes. I've previewed a little bit. It is it is not well written. Let's just say that. Salty, yes, yeah. Please watch the language, Surly. You can say that language for the next game stream. But yeah, it's a salty game. Was salty the right word? I don't know. It's a colorful game. All right, so let's get rid of this Okta stuff here. Heck yeah, much better. Thank you. All right, and this is, I mean, I could change this name from Okta user to user info, I guess. I don't need to do that. It's just a comment. Okay. Get extra user info. Sorry, Matthew's mom. Well, so the thing is, my mom probably wouldn't care if I had said that, but it's not the sort of thing I would say to my mom. I'm just kind of I don't know. I'm kind of when it comes to like language, I don't really curse. It's just not something I like to do. Not super comfortable with it. Call me a prude if you like. That's how I roll. All right. What else? Okay, so we got the Okta thing. Okta's pretty much been torn out of the project at this point. Okay. Well, the chat warning said, don't say things you wouldn't say to your mom. Yeah, exactly. Which really only you can know if you know what I would say to my mom, I guess. He has a flowering perennial plant watching the channel? What? What are you talking about, Calvin? I have a flowering perennial plant watching. Oh, mums. Is that what you're talking about? Mums? Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, because you said mom because you're okay because he's from overseas and you're giving him the business. You better watch it, Calvin. Surly Dev can turn on you real quick. All right. So this is more. Yeah, and this is again. This is not something. It's Okta user profile. Yeah, this stuff is all pretty much. It's going to throw an exception anyway. So, all right. So the ensure user is created. Okay. That's definitely going to cause an exception. But that's fine. If we get that exception, that's okay. We'll see how it goes. All right. Startup. Back over here. I want to add this stuff here. I've only been to Calvin's stream once, so he only has one or two more before I get Surly in there. Oh no. How's your channel going, Surly Dev? I thought I heard you were starting to stream. I don't think I've seen any notifications for it yet. So to complete this, in case they aren't called the same thing in the UK. Yeah, what do they call mums in the UK? Probably just call them mums, right? Or they probably use the full name, Chrysanthemum, right? So we're adding authentication, and we're using cookie authentication defaults. Okay, and then for cookie, we're going to give a login path and a logout path of login and sign out. Fine, so we need to add those actions at some point. All right, and then we just add, so we need to bring in the actual, this library, ASP.NET Security OAuth Providers. You got your Azure function completed though. What function was that, Calvin? ASP.NET Security OAuth Providers. That's not quite it. The one Surly Devil is watching me stream. Oh, okay. So I'm not seeing the search results. I'm wondering why I'm not seeing it in the search results. We found on NuGet. Oh, this is part of ASP.NET Contrib? No. ASP.NET Contrib is some sort of organization, maybe. But we're looking for... Okay. And these are all... okay, so they're all different packages. Got it. Okay. So let's start with LinkedIn. It's on NuGet. And we'll just do it this way. We've got version 2.1.0. That's fine. Just the latest. So I'll copy this over to the Package Manager console. And we are in the UI project. Yep. And I don't need to specify version. It's just going to get the latest. Okay. I really like Azure Functions. I wish I had more use for them in my day-to-day. So we're going to add LinkedIn. Okay, great. And to do that, I guess what I really like about Azure Functions is the logo. That's my main thing. All right. So what do we do with startup? Is LinkedIn example in here? No. It works really well. So let's just do options like this. And I'm going to guess it's going to be client ID and client secret, right? Options, client ID equals whatever, and options client secret equals whatever. I think that's probably all I need. Let me just double check. Is there a link to... Oh, there's documentation right here. Look at that. Let's see. Application must be authorized and authenticated before they can fetch data. Yeah. Follow one of the two authorization flows. I need to use Okta in something one of these days. Yeah, Okta's pretty good. I was pretty happy with the .NET library with it, the way it worked. It's just Auth0. Yeah, I experimented with Auth0 a little bit when I was first working with this, and I was having trouble with both of them at the same time. It turned out to be an issue on my end, so I just kind of settled on Okta, which is kind of what I was using at the time. So I didn't really get a chance to fully evaluate Auth0, but Okta's pretty darn good. And plus, I know Dave and Neil. Of course, I know a lot of people at Auth0 as well. So that's no way to evaluate a product by who you know. Follow one of the two authorization flows for permission to get started. Third-party libraries. So LinkedIn. Okay. This is in the official docs. Oh, because it's LinkedIn, I guess? Okay, well, I'm pretty sure it's just client ID and client secret. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So do I have a config class in here? I don't. All right, so it's time to move this off the screen because I need to go get those keys. Developer, is it developer.linkedin? That's what I think we discussed, we went to last time. LinkedIn.com/developers. So yes, I have one item in here. And yes, okay. Fine, and let's go to auth. Okay. So there's my client ID and my client secret. And client secret. Okay. And over here, let me take this off the screen because I know there's some Okta stuff that's stored in here. In app settings, I believe. So we're just going to take out the Okta section. I'm going to put in, I don't know, put in an auth section. Maybe. And we'll do the same thing with, because I've got it in all these different config files. So I'll show you this before I start adding stuff in. Just double check. Okay, one of these has sensitive information for my Couchbase server. So I won't show you that, but okay, bring this back over on the screen. This is my app settings file for development. Ayo man, what are you coding? Hello, tell you. I am coding some auth stuff, some OAuth stuff with ASP.NET Core. So we can log into our site with LinkedIn and hopefully GitHub. And you can also hit the pound current project, or not pound, bang current project to get a link to some information about what I'm working on. So yeah, so here is my app settings file, and you can see I've got my credentials for my local Couchbase cluster here, and so I'm also going to add some credentials for LinkedIn, and we'll just call this client ID and client secret. Hey, SSD Dragon, good to see you back. Hey, Matthew, can a web server know the IP of a website located on another server? Can a web server know the IP of a website hosted on another server? So, I think the answer is yes. But I'm kind of curious what you're working on here. Just some caveats to that question, to that answer, to knowing. So for a server to communicate to another server via TCP, or via IP, I guess, you need to know the IP address. So if you're able to make requests to a server, then you'll need the IP address. Even if you know just the domain name is going to go to a DNS server and look up the IP address. So yes, is the short answer. You can find out the IP of another server. Tell you, oh nice, I'm learning Python and programmed a small program that checks credentials. And also you can create a new account and it hashes the password for database. Yeah, very similar to what I'm working right now on Tell You, except here's the thing for me. This is an app that I'm going to deploy into production. I do not want to store credentials of anyone in a database. I do not want to do that because I'm afraid that if I deploy something wrong, that I will expose those credentials to the public. Now, I think I've got it deployed. I'm going to avoid that. But I can never be sure. And there's always a risk of storing that stuff. So I want to use OAuth to allow users to log in with somebody else, like LinkedIn or GitHub, and let them manage the credentials. I have no intention of doing that. But absolutely, it's something I've done in the past, absolutely. When I worked at previous employers, like the one with Calvin, for instance, we've certainly stored password information as hashed. And yeah, Calvin still does it, for instance, and employers before that, we've actually absolutely do it. So, I mean, there's a point where, yes, you need to store credentials. This app is not one of them. This is an app that's kind of just for funsies and for promotional purposes, and I have no interest in storing credentials. That's why I initially used Okta for it, because I would let Okta store the credentials. Because that's what Okta and Auth0 are good at, is storing credentials and providing security. Bring the salt. Okay. Oh, yeah, bring the salt because you're salting the passwords. Yeah. Yeah, so make sure if you hash the password, tell you also put a salt in there too for maximum security. If you're not sure what a salt is, yeah, okay, so you do it with the salt. Yeah, absolutely. That's very important. Okay, so LinkedIn, and then we'll go ahead and I'll just put GitHub in here right now, even though I don't have anything for that yet. I don't even know what that would be. I don't know if it's the same thing, client ID and client secret. PBKDF2 with salt. So I'm guessing PBKDF2 is some sort of hashing algorithm that I'm not familiar with. The last one I used, I think, was bcrypt, I believe. But of course, the thing with hashing algorithms is they eventually stop being secure. So perhaps bcrypt is no longer secure. I don't know. You know, back in the early days of web development, I was still using MD5 to hash passwords until that was eventually broken. And then like SHA1, which I think is also eventually broken, or at least in terms of password storage. And then I said I was going to use SHA256 once on Twitter, and they said, no, don't use that. Use bcrypt or, I don't know, what's the other one? Something crypt. So it's hard for me to keep up with that kind of stuff, which is, again, another reason why, yeah, scrypt, that's the one. Well, it's another reason I don't want to do that kind of stuff, because keeping up with that is tough. So unless I have to, I don't want to do that. But yes, absolutely, welcome to the channel. SS Dragon has been in here before, asking some very cool questions, and Tell You is brand new though, so I think. So definitely welcome to the channel. Calvin is a mod and very awesome guy. So I definitely want to give him a follow on Twitch as well. All right, so that's development. Oh, jeez, Calvin. Yeah, Calvin gifting a sub, gifting a lot of subs. Appreciate that, Calvin. And SS Dragon is so excited. He said WF. And geez, Calvin. Yeah, you're buying the viewers. Yeah, absolutely. It's a Labor Day miracle. Thank you very much, Calvin, for that. Calvin's he's that guy in the bar that's, you just buy a round for anybody that comes up, and it seems like a nice person. He'd be like, a round for you. Why not? Thank you very much, Calvin. All right, so this is the configuration I want to add to all of my files. I'm going to take those off the screen because some of them have sensitive information, the ones that go into production. So you're not going to get to see those. I have one for administrative login, which is kind of for testing in production I used in the past, and one for production, which is what I actually deploy to Azure. So Calvin Allen is our Norm from Cheers. Absolutely he is. That is a great one. He is definitely the norm. Although, is that reference dating us a little bit? He absolutely is the norm. That's great. I like that. Maybe I should make a custom soundbite for Calvin. When he enters the channel, it just says, Norm! Actually, so let me, while I'm thinking about it, I'll take some notes here. Because Michael Jolly had an idea for SO command. Shout out a Twitch profile? I don't know. I'm not sure what he does. I was literally just typing that. And then maybe we have a... when Calvin enters the room, play Norm sound bites or video bite. I don't know, whatever. So this is something that we could actually, I mentioned this earlier, I added the chat bot is now being hosted in ASP.NET Core application with the idea of adding more visual elements to the stream, kind of like what Michael Jolly's been doing. You're going to join and leave every 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to have to throttled to prevent Calvin abusing this. Calvin hilariously abusing this. Okay, so just some notes for later. All right. Okay, so I've got my LinkedIn credentials. I'm just going to paste those into here and paste those into here. Doing this off screen. I know this is riveting stuff. I'm doing things off screen. But just for reference purposes, here's what it looks like. That portion that I'm trying to use in my configuration. Okay. Now, I need to actually bring over into startup here. We need to actually grab those from configuration. So how do I do that? Configuration.get section. And it's going to be auth, LinkedIn, and client ID. SS Dragon, what's your favorite video game? Oh man, this is the kind of question I would love to talk about for like an hour. Put them in Azure Key Vault. Yeah, I probably could put them in Azure Key Vault actually. That might be a better, I actually have done a blog post in Azure Key Vault. So that might be a better thing for me to do in the long run. But we're just going to try to do this locally. Get it to work first there, Calvin. Favorite video game? Oh, man. I think it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I think it's still Mega Man 2 for NES. It's got to be my favorite video game. It's one that I just played the heck out of when I was a kid. And anytime I get Mega Man 2 in front of me, I'll just go to town. My hands, I still have the muscle memory for most of the game. Although last time I was playing it, I had a few coffees in quote, and I couldn't beat the first level of Wily's Castle. But Mega Man 2, probably my favorite game. Although the close second might be Portal 2. Portal 2, amazing game. So the question: Can you code it yourself? You're asking me if I can create Mega Man 2 myself? I mean, I don't know. Probably. I am not much of a game developer, really. Game development is like a whole. I mean, it's a different beast than the type of coding that I normally do, which is web development and line of business type stuff, back end development. That being said, I've written some games in the past. I actually a long time ago, long time ago. I was before I was even writing C#. I had written a Dr. Mario clone. Actually, I did this all in C, in just like hardcore C, using a library called Allegra for graphics and sound and stuff. And it was pretty darn good. It was a pretty darn good clone of Dr. Mario, because I'm a big Dr. Mario fan. And I've also created again, another clone of an adventure game, which maybe I'll show sometime in the stream. But I created a clone of an adventure game that I loved for NES called Deja Vu, which is a point-and-click adventure game, not an action game like Mega Man 2. But I created it in WinForms. Hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that follow. So Mega Man 2 would be challenging for me to code, but we probably could code it. Why? Is that something you're interested in? Doing some game development? Because I will say, there are some coders on the Twitch Live Coders team that do game development, and they probably do a much better job than I do of game development type stuff. Could you code GTA 5? GTA 5. That would be by myself. I could do it. Yes, I think I could do it, but it would take me a long time. GTA 5 is done by a large team of talented people, and it would be tough. Codebase Alpha, yeah, Codebase Alpha is doing a point-and-click adventure game. Oh no, not point-and-click. I don't think. I think it's text adventure game, unless he's changed him. What language should I learn if I want to hack people in Minecraft? Most of the time when you find exploits to do hacks, it's going to be C, because that's where all the buffer overloads are. So if you could figure out C and how to exploit that and get some buffer overloads. I don't know what Minecraft's written in Java, though, I believe. So maybe Java or C. Python is best for hacking. Maybe, I don't know. The best language for hacking probably is SQL, actually, for SQL. What do you call them? SQL injections. How do I download more RAM from my router? All right, these are just troll questions. Is that what this face is? Troll questions? The Kappa face? More RAM for your router. How do you download more RAM for your router? That's hilarious. So the way you download more RAM for your router is you hit Alt F4 on your keyboard. That's the quickest way to do it. That's like a secret shortcut. That's a top hacking tip. Alt F4. Oh boy. Okay. So configuration get section. All right. I want to get string. Easy as that, right? Now, I say that, hopefully no one actually tried Alt F4, because Alt F4 is just a Windows shortcut to close current window. All right. Hey, I'm back. That Alt F4 thing didn't work. How do you know, Calvin? Did you check your router's RAM? Press Alt F4. What does it do? If I tell you what's going to happen, it won't happen. Yeah. Client secret is the other one. So we want to get client secret. I hope this will work. Get the string. All right. So we got that whole deal worked out. All right. So what else? I want to look at this example again. So it looks like use authentication. We can figure out. Might already have that. Use authentication. Yep, I do already have that there, so we're good. I'm thinking of upgrading my toaster's modem from 28K to 58K. Is it worth it? Also, should I use CompuServe Prodigy with it? Maybe Juno. Juno? That's a name I've not heard in a long time. You always hear the CompuServe or the Prodigy references. You don't hear the Juno references. That text file you showed is JSON, yes? Technically, this part is JSON, but to be correct, it would have to have braces around it. But yes, The configuration file, the app settings file in ASP.NET Core project is typically written in JSON. I do a lot of stuff with JSON. That's one of the main I don't know, languages, formats that I work with day to day is JSON. In fact, every message that you are sending me is actually behind the scenes is JSON format, and I'm storing that as JSON. So we could bring that up here. Up here, I'm actually storing it into a database called Couchbase Server. And if we go over here to buckets, you'll see Twitch chat. I have 1,400 Twitch messages. Every time you say something in the chat room, that gets stored here. And so we can view this. We can see that. Look at that. This is a Twitch messages. It just saves as JSON format. You store all messages for what? A good question, tell you. I don't really have a reason to store them yet. It's just kind of data gathering. May do something in the future. Not really sure. If you've got an idea for what to do with a database full of Twitch messages, I'm thinking maybe some machine learning might be fun in the future, or some sort of leaderboard. I don't know. Am I gonna sell the data? No. Who's gonna buy this data? I'm not gonna sell the data. If I wanted to sell it, I'd probably have to do a whole thing with getting, explicit permission and all that. But this is really just kind of for funsies. And anyone can do this, by the way. If you want to go to GitHub, you can see my little Twitch bot. You can just write your own. Michael Jolly collects them as well, and C# Fritz does. Oh, interesting. Do you have any plans for what to do with your chat data there, Michael Jolly? Because I don't really have, I do every once in a while I'll query it to get like the people who chat the most. But I don't want to encourage people to just spam the chat room to get on the top of the leaderboard. So there's really nothing that really does. Sell it all to Google and retire. I'm pretty sure if Google wanted to collect Twitch chat data, they would already be doing it. They might already be doing it. I know that some site collects all the messages of all channels on Twitch, or most channels. Well, that, again, not surprising. Archive.org might want to collect that kind of stuff. I'm sure Twitch themselves have store all this data. It's extra strong coffee today. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking machine learning or some sort of analytic queries we could run on it at some point. I don't know. I'm just collecting it right now. Don't have a ton of data, just 1,500 messages or so. You're going to use it to know chatters per hour, per project, working on popular bot commands, etc. Yeah, that might be good. I actually don't store the bot commands right now. I just ignore them. I process them and ignore them. I don't save them. Maybe I should save them as well. But yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I just think someday in the future, months from now or a year from now, it's going to be like, man, I wish I had all this Twitch data. We could do something interesting with it. But I do have that data now. So anyway, we're getting sidetracked again. All right. So what else do I need? I've got the setup, I think the proper setup here. So I've got authentication turned on in configure. I've got it added as a service here with just LinkedIn right now. And so what else do I need? I need probably a login page. So I've got, so they got Authentication Controller, which I could probably just copy this as is. We'll at least start there. Controllers, Authentication Controller. I don't know if Authentication Controller is a magic class name or what. Okay, so this is okay. So I don't need to copy the whole thing. I'm putting in my own namespace. I think I'm going to start developing a bot for my next stream project. Calvin, it's kind of required. You have to create a chat bot. It's just kind of a rite of passage. I just said that. It absolutely is a rite of passage. I put it off for a while because I was just like, everyone else is doing a bot. When I was watching some dude program yesterday, there was another dude who used neural network for bots, and he was learning them on his chat. And the streamer didn't know that and talked with that bot like a normal human. That's pretty cool. So you create a little, like, a chat, like a literal, like a chat bot sort of thing. And then he found out and knew every time. So that's funny. Okay, so, all right. So I copied and pasted this from their sample project. I just leave this comment out here. So yeah, we got this sign in when it's using this syntax here, which I don't really need to do that. Just showing off there. Sign out and sign in. We got two different sign ins. Yeah, we could use all the text to do a Markov chain sort of thing, like feed all the text into a Markov generator and then just generate randomish messages. I don't know. One of the things back in the day I used to do with when I hung out on IRC a lot, and actually Twitch is built with IRC. It's over the IRC protocol. But we used to have next time Coral's in here, you can ask him about this. But we used to have a little quote bot. So if someone said something really kind of funny or awkward or embarrassing, generally speaking embarrassing, we would add that quote to the quote bot, and then you could then get random quotes from the bot. So it was kind of a silly thing to do, but we could do that. All right, so it looks like this is using something called MVC Client Extensions. The bot listened to the stream, so he must have implemented some sort of speech to text and processed it that way. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's something else I've thought about implementing at some point is like a closed captioning bot to show the text at the bottom of the screen, and it could also do like a little bit of a transcript. Although those speech to text programs are kind of hit and miss sometimes. Although I'm right into the microphone, and that might be more helpful than some settings where you're doing speech to text. I'm just one person, so it might be mildly useful. Yeah, there's an extension on Twitch for streamers for closed caption. I think there's one that C# Fritz was just talking about. That maybe he's using or he's going to use, or someone on the live coding team had built something like that. And I think it uses Azure Machine Learning, or maybe not. I don't know. Oh, that's my phone. Someone calling me. Meant to turn my phone on silent. Sorry for that. So we're about the 11 o'clock mark right now. We're about halfway through, and I've barely made any progress on this authentication. Totally fine. That's what this channel's for. This is not a super productive means of getting work done, but it is a super interactive way to reach developers like Tellu and Calvin and SS Dragon and so on. All right, so this MVC Client Extensions, what is that? That is something that I don't have in here. Is that a NuGet project? MVC Client Extensions. I'm not seeing that on here. Let's see if it's MVC Client. Oh, it's extensions like that they've created here in the class. Okay. All right, so I've got some of my own extensions to create. So I'll just borrow theirs. HTTP content extension. I can't imagine how hard GTA 5 was to code. Well, so I don't want to minimize this, but what the game developers usually do is they use an engine, and coding the engine is really where a lot of the work is. Yeah, so GTA 5, I believe, uses a different engine than like GTA 4, but they usually buy an engine from another company. So I don't want to minimize the effort there, because there's still a lot of coding they have to do to, so that it's not like a cookie cutter type of a game, right? They do a lot of customization and add stuff on their own. But I think a lot of the work with Grand Theft Auto 5 is the art and the writing and the gameplay tweaking, things like that. And that is a lot of work. Creating assets, recording the voices, coming up with the stories. That is a ton of work. That is creative work, and so that's where they spend a lot of their time. Now, don't get me wrong; they have plenty of coders, I'm sure, to add features and code custom things. But building the engine, in my view anyway, I don't have a lot of experience in the industry, very little or none in the game industry. But building the engine is where most of the actual hardcore coding takes place. All the math-heavy stuff, all the polygons, all that kind of stuff, all the scripting engines and things like that. All right, what was I doing? Extensions. So it's not a separate library; it's just extensions, of which I already have some. These are HTTP context extensions. I'll just paste this in here. String comparison. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, so these are the extensions. So get external providers async. It's going to find all the different providers that we've set up. So right now it's just LinkedIn, but this might return a collection of them. Well, it does return a collection of them. When I add GitHub and things like that. Is provider supported? Is just going to just take the same thing and just say, well, is it in that collection? Then it's supported. So a couple of handy extensions there. So we'll bring those in. Okay, so we don't need this. So when we get to the sign in, it's going to say, is the provider, so we're signing in from a provider. If it's null, then we say bad request. Let's see, you were so happy with Mega Man 2, little did you know we'd have something realistic as GTA 5. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you're right in that. For me, gameplay is like the actual gameplay, story, the mechanics. Those are more important to me than the realism of the graphics, things like that. And if you're into graphic realism and stuff like that, that's cool. That's totally defensible. A lot of people are into that kind of stuff. But for me, it's like Portal 2 is a game with pretty darn good graphics. But to me, it's not about the graphics. It's about the incredible story, the really fun game mechanics, the usability of the game. They've put a lot of thought into how people solve puzzles, how people go about thinking about puzzles. So even if I've played Portal 2 by myself and I've played through it multiple times, I'll go back and play it again, even though I know the solution to the puzzles, because it's still just so much fun there. Portal 2 co-op, I didn't really get into that very much. It was kind of, it was fine. Because then you introduce another person in there, and that can be frustrating. Breath of the Wild, I still have not played Breath of the Wild. I have a Switch. I've heard Breath of the Wild is like maybe top best game of all time candidate. I've not played it. I do like Zelda, like Link to the Past, Zelda 3, one of my top 10 games easily. Although, actually, if we're talking Zelda, probably my favorite Zelda game would be the Game Boy one. Zelda, what was that called? Shoot. Zelda 4, basically. Man, why can't I remember that game? It's one of my favorites. Link's Awakening. Yep, that's it. Link's Awakening. That is probably my favorite Zelda game. And again, we're talking probably the weakest graphics. But yeah, it's getting released on the Switch. I heard this. That's going to be pretty cool. I definitely want to get that and play that. That is a tremendous game. But again, the story in that one is tremendous. It's got a great sense of humor. It's got unique mechanics for a Zelda game. It's just so much fun. Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to add new material to the Switch version and stuff like that, and a graphical update. So I'm looking forward to that. But I don't really have a lot of time for gaming these days. So I have to be have to be careful with the kind of games that I pick and choose, spend my time on. But yeah, that's exciting to see that getting re-released on the Switch. That's very cool. But so yeah, I think I'd rank that one higher than Zelda 3. But those are both really good games. Mega Man 2, Portal 2. I really like Super Mario 3, Super Mario World. I'm not breaking new ground here. I'm not picking really obscure titles or anything. But Zelda 4, Zelda 3, really solid games. Gabriel Knight, probably my favorite point-and-click adventure game. That's it. Probably the pinnacle of the genre was Gabriel Knight: Sins of the Father, which we'll eventually get to in my stream. Tremendous game. Legend of Corandia, another tremendous point-and-click adventure game. That's probably a little more on the obscure side. But yeah, those are good. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, got to be on my list as well. Tremendous game. I mean, genre-defining game. Symphony of the Night, one of the best games. It's super kind of buggy sometimes, but in a good way, like in a charming way. It's a little buggy. That's definitely I like that one. I played the heck out of Castlevania Circle of the Moon when I first got my Game Boy Advance. I spent a lot of time because that was at a time in my life when I was a cable guy. And as a cable guy, some days it's just like go all day long on your feet, working. Some days it's okay, sit in your van for 3 hours and wait for someone to show up. So I would bust out the Game Boy Advance and just play the heck out of that. Two games that are cheeky, but I love them so much: Battletoads and DuckTales. DuckTales, NES, definitely one of my favorites. Music is a killer. Actually, some of the Mega Man 2 team, worked on DuckTales, which a lot of overlap there in terms of music and structure of the game. Battletoads, I actually played that on a Twitch stream a long time ago, maybe a couple years back. I was doing a Twitch series on sort of bad games or tough games. Battletoads isn't a bad game, but it's a really hard game, and I didn't get that far. But Battletoads I can appreciate at a technological level because it is for an 8-bit system with limited memory capabilities. The system was designed to basically play Donkey Kong at home, and to see Battletoads with some of the parallax effects and some of the art direction and animation that they squeezed into an 8-bit system, it's just tremendous. So I can appreciate it at technology level, but it's not a game I really enjoy playing. DuckTales is a tremendous game, though. Yeah, definitely recommend you check that one out. And it didn't hurt that I was a huge DuckTales fan. You streamed for 2 years in, and yet your schedule you haven't just... Yeah, so I streamed probably 2 years ago on Twitch. I did some game streaming, and I it was not live coding. It was just game streaming. And I did it for, I don't know, probably 20, 25 episodes of that. And then I just sort of stopped doing it for like a year and a half. So I'm just getting started with live coding streaming. This is episode, what did I say this was? Episode 28? Yeah, we're 28 episodes into live coding. So maybe I should update my bio down there too. I'm not just getting started anymore. But I'm still trying to build a bit of a following, right? I'm not nearly to like Michael Jolly or C# Fritz levels. All right, so we got these controllers here. I'm going to just say that this is probably fine. And we need probably a page, right? An actual HTML page. MVC Client. Oh, let's go back over here. Nope, that's what I wanted. MVC Client, so view, and I'll need like an authentication sign-in page. Yeah. This is a relatively slim page. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted raw, please. I can't get raw? That's what I want. Give me that raw page. Do you know Dowright? Cool dude, and because of him I started programming in Python. I don't think I know Dowright, but we can see he's not on the awesome developer streaming list. If he's a Twitch streamer, you should tell him about this. The BNB GitHub/BNB/awesome developer streams. It's a directory of people who are live coding on Twitch or other channels. He makes firewall by himself. Okay, I'm not quite sure. He makes firewall software. That's pretty cool. Definitely he should get himself on this list here. Although if he has a pretty good following, maybe he doesn't need it. But that would be a cool addition to the Awesome Developers streaming list. Or if he's interested in the Twitch live coders team, you should tell him about this as well. Twitch/team/livecoders. I don't know if there's many networking people on here, so he might be a good addition to the roster. Anyway, just a thought. Yeah, pass that along. All right, so we're going to create a sign-in.cshtml page. So over here in views, I'm going to add a authentication folder. And, you know, I remember get a JetBrains ad. It always kind of goes crazy. So let's do a new item. And we'll just do this a view. A razor view, yep. And we'll call this sign in. Sign in, because that matches this sign in right here. Okay, and there we go. So what this does is it's a real basic authentication page, and it loops through all the schemes. So if we go back to here, it's getting all the providers. And it's looping through and displaying a form for each of them. So if I had a LinkedIn provider, it'll show a LinkedIn button. If I had a GitHub provider, it'll show a GitHub button. Now I may want to customize this in the future, but let's fire it up and see how it works. I'm still on Preview 4, by the way, Calvin. I still haven't installed, Preview 8 that we're on right now with .NET? Need to get on the ball with that. Okay, so this is the page that's open to the public. If I click on pretty much anything else, it's going to want me to log in. You haven't either? We talk about it all the time on the stream, but we haven't. I haven't actually installed the newer versions. The release is coming out very soon, I believe. Okay, so let's go click here and see what happens. All right, so we've got an error. The web page is not found. /login, return URL, invite code. Okay. So we've got something of a problem. Login path is login and sign out. So let's go back to this example. Let's see what they were doing. Maybe I forgot to do. Samples. NBC Client. So we've got controllers. I mean, this should be sign in, but there's no login. Did I forget something? Startup? There's this login path and sign out path. Yep. So it's trying to go there, but there's nothing there. What am I missing here? Back and start. Was there anything else? Add authentication, cookie, options, Dropbox. Yeah, okay. Static files, use MVC. I'm using static files, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that really matters in this case. Static files, authentication, HTTPS redirection. Anything in program that I should know about? I don't think so. No, nothing new there. It's a web config file. That's different. Properties, launch settings. Nope, nothing crazy there. Views, authentication. There's a sign in. Index, shared. Yep, nothing crazy there. What am I missing? So these are sign in and sign out. Maybe they... Over here, I've got login and sign out. Should this be sign in? Oh, it's worth a try. Invite code. So it looks like there is a mistake in this sample. So, being a good steward here of the open source community, I'm going to put in a pull request. Maybe, let's see, can we edit this? Fork this project, edit the file, and this should be sign in. Incorrect login path. In this startup file, it previously said login, but in Authentication Controller, the route is defined as sign in, right? Sign in? Yeah, sign in. So propose that file change. It's a really minor thing. Yeah, create this pull request. When I was following along, I got an error message because of this. Of this discrepancy. I don't know, discrepancy. I'm not adding a provider. There's no GitHub issue. This is a real minor thing. So I think this is probably okay. Create pull request. There we go. Easy as that, folks, to contribute to open source. You find yourself a little typo or a little thing that doesn't quite work. You can even do it directly in the browser. Hit the edit button and it'll create a fork for you, and you can create pull request, and there you go. So right now I've got, you can see, I've got a pull request in here into a relatively, large project, ASP.NET Contrib. And I think this is going to help people, because if they run into the same problem, they might be confused, like, hey, I'm following the exact example, but it's not working. So, all right. So look at that, authentication, sign in using one of these external providers. Let's see what happens. Now, let's just try it and see what happens. Bummer, something went wrong. Redirect URI is not registered value. Okay, I thought this might be the case. So over in the LinkedIn settings, I want to make sure I have the right redirect URLs here. So I don't know if this is going to work. I probably need to look at the documentation for that, in fact. So I previously had the Okta one in there, but that's not going to work anymore. So let's bring up the providers and that LinkedIn documentation. Okay, API guides. So what is the URL that I should give it to tell LinkedIn? I don't want to show you the page because there's sensitive information on it, but it's asking me for redirect URLs. Three-legged client. I don't think that's what I want. I think I want client credential flow. URLs must be absolute. So is this what it is? It's just auth callback? Because this isn't the right one. This example doesn't really say. What is this? It's called again. It's called the redirect URL. We've got the samples directory, but it doesn't really. I mean, this might be it right here. It's going to be slash sign in slash LinkedIn, maybe? Let's just take a look at this URL. Hopefully none of this is sensitive information. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. Sign in dash LinkedIn. Oh, okay. So here's the redirect URI. So I need to decode this URL. Decode. Decode. So maybe this is what I was looking for, right here. That would make sense. So then I need to go to LinkedIn and add that as a URL. Okay. Hopefully that'll work. So let's just do a quick recompile and run this. Okay, invite code, that gives you LinkedIn, and doing something. That looks good to me. All right. Okay, so I'll sign in with my credentials. And, okay, I'm just going to make it do two-factor authentication. Do this off the screen. This is a text message, hopefully. Here it is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just kidding. That's what an idiot would put on his luggage. 705 682. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud, but it's okay. I think we'll be fine. All right, so this is your private project. Kind of. So I'm, by private project, it's something that basically I'm the only one working on it. I'm working on the code base right now. That may change in the future. But I'm doing this for my employer. The repo for this is on GitHub, but it is a private project on GitHub. So I'm not comfortable sharing the source code for it just yet. Other than, you can see on the screen, that's totally fine. So I'm going to use my name and photo and primary email address, and okay. I'll allow it, and then we'll see what happens. I'm guessing we're going to get an exception. Oh, no exception. It's interesting. There's the exception I was looking for. But it redirected back here to the home page. It should have redirected back to the invite code page, I thought. There may be a setting that I want to redirect back to the page I was on. Do you have any cool projects you're working on not in work? Yeah, so the chatbot one is one I mentioned already. That one is on GitHub, actually. It's also an ASP.NET Core project. Well, now it's an ASP.NET Core project that's listening to the chat right now. That's on GitHub. GitHub/mgroves. And if you look at repositories, you can see Matt's Twitch bot right there. And I think I just pushed this 13 hours ago. This is a website. The website basically does nothing right now. Eventually it will do some more things. But core is what's doing most of the work. This is using the Twitch library to listen to the chat room. So you can see like kind of some of the example of that here. We've got a series of commands. One of them is store message. This is the wrong folder. But anyway, yeah, you can see this is a store message command, and so it's using the Twitch client and using Couchbase Bucket, and it's going to insert the message, just the raw message directly into Couchbase, and it'll write to the console. So you can actually kind of see this right over here as I thought as people were writing in messages, it would show up in the console in this log here. But it looks like it's not. You can learn much of networking, etc. with a Twitch bot. Maybe. I'm far from a networking expert. That's in fact probably the opposite of what I do. That kind of stuff is the sysadmin networking type stuff. That's definitely outside my experience and my expertise. But I'm talking when you do it yourself without libs. You could certainly learn something about HTTP when you do it yourself without libraries. Yeah, it might be something you could try to just implement all the stuff yourself. Again, I don't know about networking per se, but certainly HTTP and how to manage the flow of authorization and events, things like that. So when I think networking, I think, okay, I'm plugging in switches, I'm configuring firewalls, I'm setting up load balancers, that kind of stuff, and that's outside my area. But certainly you can learn a lot about HTTP by building a Twitch bot from scratch if you want to take that on. Certainly that's if you want to create your own library, for instance. Yeah, go for it. I'm out of coffee. Okay, so we got this server. That's fine. But I'm kind of curious. So why it's giving me an error is that whenever someone logs in, let me bring up home controller or something here. Whenever someone logs in, I run this method here called ensure user is created because I want to store a user's information in my database. Not their authentication, not their password and stuff like that, but their name, their email address, other stuff. And right now, it's failing because I was using octave for that, and I put this exception here to just throw it, and that's the one I'm getting. Where was it? Yeah, right here. This is the exact exception that I'm throwing. So this is happening on purpose. Unlike most of my exceptions, which happen beyond my, I did not intend for them to happen. This is one I did intend to happen. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what information can I get about the user from this context? So we'll dive into this a little bit here. There's no example of it in this project, so let's go back to OAuth providers and see what we can get. I don't know. This is just ties into the normal authentication, ASP.NET Core authentication pipeline. So maybe we can just, I don't know, get user info. How to get username using Windows authentication? That's not really what I want. Windows authentication. Get some Stack Overflow type stuff. Yeah, so if we can get stuff from HTTP context, might be interesting. So HTTP, this is probably not the best way to do this, but HTTP context accessor. How do we get HTTP context? HTTP context dot. Oh, geez. So they've made it harder for me to do the wrong thing, which is good, but kind of annoying. Oh, here it is. I already have it. Context accessor. I already have it up there. Goodness. Okay. Context accessor dot context. So we can get user. What's with this red squiggles? Oh, nothing. Okay. So I just kind of want to see. I'm just going to set a breakpoint here and see what happens. What do I get from the user? So email address is good to start with. First name, last name would be good as well for display purposes on the leaderboard. The other stuff I have is like, what's going on here? It's unhappy because I'm already running the website. So let's exit out of that. But other stuff that I've stored in the past is like their job title, which we might be able to get from LinkedIn. We'll probably get from LinkedIn. We might be able to get from GitHub. Organization, same thing. Phone number was always optional. But really, title and organization, something that from our team's point of view, we don't necessarily need. It's kind of nice to have information. Previously, it was required. When you created an account with Okta, we made that required fields to create a new account. But we might be able to fetch those from LinkedIn. But if we have their LinkedIn, like their email address or the name on LinkedIn, we could go and manually look those things up if we needed to reach out to this person, right? So really, first name, last name, email address is kind of all we really need. So if we're getting that in the user profile, then that should be good enough to start with. So I'm running this site in debug mode now. I'll close this guy out. So we'll still get an exception, but before the exception happens, we're going to stop at that breakpoint in this code. That's what this red dot here is. It means stop before you run this line and show me what's going on in the program. So I have an invite code. So ensure user is created. So I guess I'm already logged in. I already have the cookie. Okay. So we can see identity. It's a LinkedIn. So I have my name in here. That's good. It's good. We've got 5 claims. Email address. Given name, surname. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Did you see that sketchy stream in category science technology? So there's a lot of stuff in science and technology. What do you mean by sketchy? He shows some terminal. Okay. So I think I have everything I want here. Email address, given name and surname. Look it up. What was sketchy about it? Was he running, getting information he shouldn't have, or is it happening right now? Okay, so get extra user info. What I want to sort of zone in on here is identity and then claims. And it's got type and value. So let me just take a quick screenshot of this. Please with the language there, I'll tell you, please avoid that if you can. Trying to keep this as family friendly as possible. No problem. And identities. Is this where it was? Claims. And I want to zoom in on one of these just to get an idea. Like given name. No one knows what is going on in this channel. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this channel either. We could take a quick look. Where is this on Twitch? Science and technology. 150 viewers. This one right here? Or what are we talking about? Oh, C# Fritz is going right now. Helping build an extension with AI, with data from chat while exposing something should not exist. I'm talking about the other thing that's... okay. Oh, we see a Reese's commercial here first. I don't know what this is. Building an extension with AI with data from chat while exposing something should not exist. Well, I'm not turning on the audio, but over rustylogs.net. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here either. But if he's not on there explaining it, then I don't know. Not much information to go on, but a lot of people are viewing. I don't know what they're viewing. Interesting. Okay. So really what I've got to do here, and I'm just looking at these screenshots I took, is I'm going to create they're viewing it because it's sketchy. Well, here's the thing, like, oh wait, this is user context. Like, it's a terminal, right? And so maybe just from movies and TV and stuff, we're conditioned to see terminal equals hacker, right? Okay, Calvin modded something. I'm not sure what it was there, but oh, was it just the message with the language? That's fine. Thank you, Calvin. You know, a terminal itself isn't necessarily sketchy, but you know, there's something. The only thing that looks sketchy about that is it's is in the title. It said like something that's not supposed to be there, and it kind of cuts off. Yeah, yeah. The title. There's a piece of the title that looks kind of sketchy, but I mean that could really be anything. So who knows? Could be something completely innocent. All right, but I want to say user dot. Wait. Oh, I don't have any. Okay. Yeah, so the reason I structured it this way is because that's the way Okta structured it, but it doesn't have to be like that. We can just say public string first name, public string last name, and public string, well, email is actually what I use for the key. That's all I really need right now. So we can say, and we'll have to refactor this, but we can say if user dot identity. No, user context. So identity. Identity dot authentication type equals LinkedIn, and then we can say user dot first name equals user context dot identity dot claim. Identity dot claims isn't showing up. Claims identity, so that may be not accessible there. Whoops. User context dot claims. Okay, so maybe I can just access it via claims. Dot first or default, where the claim dot was it claims dot type ends with, and it is given name.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Eva302. Thanks for checking out the stream here. And value is what I want. So, yeah, it's first or default. So that could be null. And then user dot last name equals. Oh, hi. Oh, hi, Eva. Whenever I see oh, hi, I think of The Room with Tommy Wiseau. Ends with, I don't know if this is the best way. You use Windows? I do use Windows, yes. I use a variety of operating systems, but mainly I use Windows. My media server over there is running Ubuntu. And I'm using a Docker image right now that I believe is running CentOS, or it could be RHEL. But yeah, I use Windows. I work with Microsoft. I'm not a Microsoft employee, if that's what you're asking. I work for a company called Couchbase, which is, relatively speaking, there are very few Windows, .NET, C# developers at my employer. It's mostly Mac and Linux people. But I am a Microsoft MVP. So I've used a lot of Microsoft tools in my career. .NET, C#, SQL Server, ASP.NET, ASP Classic even, if you're going to go back that far, Access, things like that. So I work with a lot of Microsoft tools. MVP, okay. So let me answer the MVP question first, then I'll get to tell you this question. MVP is Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Program. It's kind of like an award they give to community members who contribute to community. Like they speak at events and they write blog posts and stuff like that. I can't see your sub button. Oh, why not? It should be right there at the top of the window up there, I think. Yeah, MVP.Microsoft.com. You want to learn more about that. There's a lot of MVPs out there. Maybe Calvin will be one of them someday. But it's just kind of an award, Microsoft, and they give us like access to software. Like this is the enterprise version of Visual Studio that I'm using right here that they give me as part of the award, and they give me some Azure credits, which I like as well. And you get to go to the MVP Summit, talk to get presentations from, and talk to Microsoft developers, stuff like that. It's a very cool program. All right, tell you, Couchbase, something like CouchDB. Oh boy. So that is a question I get about 1,000,000 times wherever I go. Very common misconception is Couchbase and CouchDB. So Couchbase is couchbase.com and CouchDB is couchdb.org. So they're two different things, but they have couch in the name. So that's the confusing part, right? They're both NoSQL databases. That's about where the similarities end. So in the actually maybe I have a slide for this somewhere. If we're gonna do this, let's just do it. Because I get this question asked a lot. I'll bring up my let's see. SQL for JSON. Yeah, let's do that. I'll bring up my presentation my slide deck I used for a recent conference, JavaScript and Friends, here in Columbus, Ohio, organized partially by Calvin Allen. So here is my slide deck. We're not going to go through the whole slide deck, but we'll go down here to frequently asked questions. And so, let's see if I can actually show this on the screen. Is Couchbase the same thing as CouchDB? So there is an open source project called CouchDB, which you're aware of. There was also an open source project from Memcached. Greetings from Icelandic voice actor. You're a voice actor, Eva? That's pretty cool. Icelandic voice actor. Very interesting. You want to get MSN back up. What is you want to get MSN like the search engine back up and going? Is it gone? Did you like MSN? Anyway, Bing is their search engine right now, which actually I use all the time. Anyway, CouchDB and Memcached. They're two projects. They're both open. Oh, MSN the Messenger. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I don't think that's around anymore. It might be. I think they replaced it with Skype. CouchDB open source database project storing data as JSON. Memcached, which is a cache. And so in the early days, there were some startups formed around these. So Couch1 was a startup for CouchDB, and Membase was a startup for Memcached. And these companies kind of looked at each other and said, hey, why don't we get our chocolate and peanut butter together? We can have a NoSQL database that has a built-in memory first architecture. And so this is oversimplifying, of course, but they merged. They took the couch from Couch1 and the base from Membase, started a new product called Couchbase Server, and a new company called Couchbase Inc. And so in the early days, it was basically just a combination of CouchDB and Memcached. That was the version 1.0 of Couchbase Server, more or less. And it's changed a lot since then. So they both have couch in the name, which is kind of an unfortunate naming thing. It made sense at the time, but they are very different pieces of software. So they don't have the same API. They don't have the same feature set. They really just have one thing in common, that they both store JSON data. That's kind of it. In fact, I would say Couchbase is probably closer to Memcached than it is CouchDB at this point. So there it is. That's the answer. That's the spiel. I get asked that a lot. Oh, nice. So you're the best version made from 2. Well, tell you, I'm not going to make a value judgment to say that one is strictly better than the other, but I will say Couchbase Server is a lot broader in terms of features. It's a bigger data platform, whereas CouchDB they have really a set of core strengths, and that's kind of their guiding principle. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's a complicated question to say which is the best. But I would say, yeah, a Couchbase Server combines the best of both worlds from CouchDB and Memcached. Now, if you ask someone at CouchDB, they'll probably have a different answer for you. and so on with Memcached. But that's the way it goes. Yes, but that's my employer is Couchbase Incorporated. So surname. Okay, and so that's that, and then I want to return user. You found the sub button? Is it not where it's supposed to be? I don't think I made any changes for it or anything like that. You don't have any demos, like voice acting demos? I have a acquaintance. Actually, he's the son of an acquaintance who does some voice acting, and he's trying to get into. Well, he's I don't think he might have just graduated high school or might still be in high school, but he's doing some voice demos stuff, and he's really into like anime, trying to break into maybe doing anime, like English dubs, that kind of stuff. But not just that, right? Other voice acting stuff, and he's got really an incredible voice, actually. So I think he's got a bright future in that. If he's still interested, I haven't talked to him in a while, actually. But yeah, and I have a friend actually here in Columbus who has done some voice work in the past, and he's also got an incredible voice. So I know some people with incredible voices. I'm not one of them. My motto is quantity over quality. So I talk a lot. I don't necessarily talk really well. All right, so this is kind of hacky, but this is kind of what I'm going to go for here. So let's return extra user info, username. Is get username. So where do I get username from? This is, I don't know if that's right or not, but we can set a breakpoint, see if that works. And then set a breakpoint in here, just kind of see how this works. You like Tara Sands. I'm not familiar with Tara Sands. I've heard of Tara Strong. Is that the right name? She's done a ton of like cartoons and stuff. Some people are better streamers and some are better voice actors. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'm better at either of those things, but I enjoy doing streaming. Okay, so context. Username. Okay, username is null, so that's not right. What I want to get is email address. So kind of what I was doing down here, except with email address. I do stream also from my phone. You know, I tried streaming when I was in Los Angeles with the Twitch app, and it didn't seem to be working. I don't know if I was doing something wrong or what. But I couldn't get it to work. Because I thought about maybe, again, in the future, is it email address? I already forgot. Doing some live streaming from like a booth, for instance. I do a lot of events, and I could do it from the booth. I want to visit Hollywood. Okay. I don't think I was in Hollywood proper, but I was in Los Angeles. I know that you can stream on YouTube from phone, that's for sure. Am I in California? No, I'm actually in Ohio. I was in California last week for a database conference. So I spent all week out there working a booth at a database conference in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles. Oh, yeah. Ohio, Central Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. I'll tell you, if you want to go to Los Angeles, get prepared for some traffic. It is just always bad, always bad. And people in Ohio complain about traffic sometimes during rush hour, but no, it is traffic in Ohio. In Columbus is nothing compared to like Los Angeles or even like New York or Atlanta or Chicago. It's just you have nothing to complain about in Ohio. You're visiting UK soon. Well, we've got someone in the stream from time to time, Surly Dev, who is, I believe he's in the UK for your birthday. Well, happy birthday. Enjoy your trip to United Kingdom. If I were going to United Kingdom, one thing I'd want to check out is like the Bletchley Park museum campus, whatever they've got there. That'd be very cool. Okay, so make sure I have this right here. Email, yeah, okay. So, all right, got my email address. That's so far so good. I wanted to do this. Come to Poland, close to UK. Is it? I don't know if that's, I mean, it's closer than here. It's like east of Germany, isn't it? My mental picture of Europe is always messed up. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you've got a few countries between Poland and the UK, but it's certainly closer to the UK than the United States, I guess. Are you in Poland, tell you? Is that why you bring it up? You don't like Poland? What? What's wrong with Poland? Okay, because they don't really speak English. Okay. Well, I mean, what do they? They speak some sort of Polish, I imagine, or some sort of Eastern European dialect, I would imagine. That would make it challenging if you don't understand the language, but hardly seems like a good reason to not like a country. So that's LinkedIn. Yep, so far so good. Matthew and Groves. Okay, and return the user. And that's going to create, okay, but this is wrong here. So I actually have to map those up. And this should not be Okta user anymore. I am from Poland. We are one of the best English-speaking countries. Look up Wiki. All right, I believe it. You know, English is kind of the language, the lingua franca these days. This is what I've been told anyway. I don't have a lot of first-hand experience in Europe, but user info. There is no problem with English here. I was actually told that in Norway, they like learn English in school, right? So like everyone in Norway speaks really fluent English, or most people anyway, which I was kind of surprised to learn. Not the Polish people here in Iceland. Okay, is there a large like Polish contingent in Iceland? All right, well let's take it easy here. Let's not start any international incidents here in the Twitch chat. Let's just agree that Iceland is cool, Poland is cool, the UK is cool, the United States is cool. They're all cool places. Iceland, literally cool. I know the capital of Iceland. It's Reykjavik, right? If I'm saying it right. I only know that because of Craig Ferguson. Okay, so this should be working now. So if this is working, then I will be able to. So let's go into here. So this is my data. Looking for a document ID with my email address. What was it? I store it as user : Where is it? User repository. Yeah, user : Okay. So I'm looking for user : webmaster@mgroves.com, which is my terrible, embarrassing email address that I still have. And there's no document for that. Fine, that's what I expect. We go over to home, and I'm going to have an invite code, and now there should be that document in there. Why not? Create user. Well, let's step through. This is probably something that I should have some integration tests for, or at least some unit tests for, but I've done a poor job of that. We have about 5 minutes left in the stream. So once I get through this, I'm going to shut her down. Oh, shoot. Set of breakpoints. Oh, it didn't even go there. And we'll raid somebody else. Do you know what is a port scanner? I'm coding it as well as my small project yesterday. I accidentally DDoSed myself. You can't really DDoS yourself. You can DOS yourself. A port scanner is something that just looks for open ports on a given IP address. It's a very handy tool. It's often associated with hacking, right? Because you want to find open ports you can exploit, that sort of thing. Oh, it says the user does exist already. Huh? Why is that the case? If it says a user exists, then why isn't it coming up in my database? Where's my database? Oh, I'm in the wrong bucket. That's why. Twitch chat. Still. Oh, no, not Twitch chat. Scavenger Hunt. Darn it. There it is. So there I am. It saved it. Terrific. I probably also want to make a note of some LinkedIn specific data here in this user profile, and we'll go from there. But we got it. We got LinkedIn integration, and we are ready to rock. So terrific. That's good. We made good progress today. Your router catched port flooding and blocked you. Wow, that sounds like some hardcore networking stuff. All right. So next time, I might do some GitHub work. This should be pretty easy to add that here, and we'll add some more. We'll probably save some more extended LinkedIn specific data, but we're making good progress here. So let's go and find someone to raid, if we can, and then I've got to go to a meeting here. So C# Fritz. So we'll raid C# Fritz. This is a great channel. He is basically the team leader of the Live Coders team. He's doing some great stuff. Looks like he's building a config page with Blazor, interacting with Akka. So that's some really cool stuff. So definitely go check out C# Fritz's channel. I'm going to get the raid kicked off because I got to get going. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Thank you Eva for the follow. Thank you Tell for the follow. Thank you Calvin for all the gifts you've given. I appreciate that. Eritar, thank you for the follow. Everybody, thank you for all the chat. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Equals that. Oh my goodness. Matthew D. Groves. Thank you for the raid. Hello, hello. I very much appreciate you sending over